Knicks family, what is popping with you? We got the crew in the building. Big Bubba's in the house. Big Bubba's in the building, ladies and gentlemen. We got Joe. We got Andy. You know you love it. Stop lying. You know you love it. You know you love the name. You like attention, so you know you love the name Big Bubba. Don't front.
You know what's making me mad? I was on a different page the other day. I made a comment. Someone's gonna be like, Big Bubba. I'm like, oh my God, this is annoying.
Big Bubba's in the building. Just embrace it. Embrace it. That's all you gotta do is just embrace it. Just be Big Bubba. That's all you gotta do. Big Bubba's in the building. You know what I mean? Anyway, we're here to wrap up the first two preseason games against Detroit. And, you know, last night we did a post-game analysis, and obviously you get a lot of Knicks fans that they love to dwell in their sorrows.
Here we go.
And they love to just live with pain, it seems like. You know, they just want... It's hard for them to fathom, you know, that the Knicks can do anything well or anything right. But there's some positives to take out of these two games, in my opinion. You know, some good things that you can take out of it. And it's just two games, so it's not like it's a mountain worth of stuff, right? But there are things that you can take out of it. Number one, over these two games against Detroit, the Knicks' defensive rating is 91. That's good. Now, they are playing Detroit, but okay, I don't care. I'm going to take it because other teams that are up there, the Toronto Raptors, who notoriously have a good defense, the Los Angeles Lakers, who notoriously have a good defense, right? Notoriously have a good defense. So I'm going to take it, and I'm going to try to pull that away. That's what you do when you're a coach. You pull away some things that are positive and say, okay, how can we build on this? We have a 91, our defensive rating is 91, giving up 91 points over the first two games, preseason games. What can we take away from it? So I want to start off talking about the defense and what we've seen from the defense so far. Andy, I'll start off with
you. Let me, you know, tell a story about you saying you need to pull up all the positive things, right? As a coach. Mm-hmm. My, you know, rest in peace to my coach. He said always that if you're coaching a bad team, you got to look for the positives. If you're coaching a championship team, you got to look for only, you know, pick up all the bad things and try to, you know, correct them. He was always saying that thing. If we worked, you know, a whole season without a loss, he was picking, you know, that you could have made that, you know, layup with the left hand or whatever, right? Just picky things. But if we lost, bro, he went out on us. He corrected every play on every possession. He yelled at us when we were like 20 up, and he yelled at us because we made a bad run or a play or stuff like that. So
right, I hear you. And you know, as a coach myself, when we're winning, you know, I always make it a point to tell people, this is just what I've learned throughout my time in, let's just say, youth development. I try to give 3 positives to 1 negative all the time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I pull them into a huddle, say, listen, I like this, I like that, and like that, but that last play you did was bullshit, right? So I'll tell them the positives, but I will really hammer home what I did not like. You know, just so it gets across in their head. And we have won championships, and then we come back into practice and we have the hardest practice of the season. And they're like, Coach, we just won a championship. Why are we having one of the hardest practices that we've had so far? And I always tell them, because when you're on top or you're doing well, everybody's gunning for you, and you got to be at the top of your game. You got to be at your peak. You got to still play your best. If you decide that I'm going to relax because I've won, then you're bracing for a downfall. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you. But I always try to focus on positives. Like one person like Big Bubba, I always got to try to focus on something positive about Big Bubba.
First of all,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm always positive in a very. I'm positive.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You do a lot of things wrong, so I always got to focus on something positive.
I don't know what I do wrong. First of all, I do everything pretty amazing. But you know what?
Anyway, I didn't ask you. I was getting to Andy. Andy, can you comment on? You want to comment on the defense?
That's crazy. Okay.
Well, as far as the defense goes, it's not perfect, but definitely it's better than last year, at least in these 2 preseason games. Like you said, the competition wasn't that high, level, because Detroit isn't going to be one of the top teams in the whole NBA. But like you said, we can take out some positives from it, definitely.
Yeah.
So the center play, it's really good. And like you broke it down on the, post-game show, we have switched that tactics that the defensive guys try to stay in the paint and, avoid those drives, and be taking those shots from close to the basket. So that's a thing that for like last 2-3 seasons, the opposite teams were getting really easy buckets in the paint.
Right.
Even when Mitch was on, because they had, driving lanes from both sides. They when he went up in the air, they just passed off the ball and were around them. So, and now it's really looking a little bit better. And as long as we are going to avoid teams scoring easily on us, it's going to be harder for them to, to get up those points on the board. Yeah. And as you also mentioned, if we're not going to have the perfect offense, and it looks like this, that, the offensive, side of the court is going to be worse for us. So we got to at least try to stop the opposite team on defense. And, also to add, I think everybody knows this because it's nothing new, right? But defense can be a consistent thing, right? Offense can come and go. You can get, hot and score points in bunches, and sometimes you won't be able to hit, the shots, and it's going to be tough for you to get on the board and score about that 110. Probably it's going to be this year's, right? Like the winning margin. If you're going to have 110, it's basically going to be probably a win. Well, for the Knicks, it's going to be hard to score 110 on an average game. So I'm guessing if they're going to hold the opposition to like 95, 90, many of those games are going to be W's.
Yeah. Tony, what's your take on the defense?
Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is
How Tony get to go ahead of me? That's not fair.
Seniority. The first game, I really liked the fact that, when Noel's came out and Mitch came in and vice versa, we didn't lose a step, as far as protecting the paint. I think if Mitch could stay on the floor, we could sustain that, and that's going to go a long way. The main thing that I love about the defense right now, and we haven't seen this in years, we're not switching. And to me, you're never going to improve as a defender if you're switching. It's cheating. It's like the easy way out. And if you have guys who aren't good defenders, if you have guys that are good defenders, then I might think a little bit different about switching. But if you're just constantly switching, you're never going to improve. We got a lot of guys that have to improve. Now they're going to be held accountable to play by play. You know what I mean? You're not hiding anybody. You're acknowledging the weaknesses and then working on how to fix the weaknesses.
Right.
So I think that's going to improve us like throughout the whole year.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Big Bubba. And I can tell that Big Bubba wrote his own name this time.
No, I did. I didn't do that.
You did, because I didn't do it. And I'm the only one.
It wasn't me.
And I'm the only other person that can change your name, and I didn't do it. And I can tell you did
one
it.
Of us.
You know why I can tell you did it? Because you didn't capitalize. You didn't capitalize the first part of the name. But anyway, go ahead, Big Bubba.
Big Bubba.
Yeah, I did. I don't know who did it, but I know.
Go ahead, Big Bubba.
Yeah, so with the defense. So I will say this though, seriously, the defense the last 2 games has been good. You can't complain. They have not scored 100 points, so we can't complain about that.
Came close last night. It was 99,
they came close, but they didn't score 100 though. Defense has been good. I've been seeing a lot of active hands. Even with Dennis Smith Jr., you even take a positive from Dennis Smith Jr. that he has had these last 2 games. I've seen active hands from Dennis Smith, which is a big step up. Of course, Frank's going to be Frank. I've seen some good little defense from Quickly, even though he wasn't there. He wasn't out there too long, but I've seen him guarding up his man, which was good. Mitch, first game was great. Noel, that was actually to me, like Tony was saying, Noel's goes out and then Mitch comes in and then we're not missing a beat. That's what we're hoping to have this year, which again, we will take it from that. All the guys have been playing pretty good defense. I can't complain. To me, from what we've seen from so far, it looks a lot better from last year to this year. I feel like once we got real people and real coaches in there that are actually have these guys doing the defensive assignments, like Tony said, there's no switching. There's not as much switching because last year that used to piss me off of how much we used to switch. So much. Sometimes we'll switch just to switch. Not even just be, done it because we were forced to switch. We'll switch just to switch. Now this year, I feel like these guys are being with their men. So yes, the defense has been improved, which I am happy about. So can't complain.
Yeah,
from these first 2 games.
And listen, there's been some switching. What I've noticed a lot is what Andy pointed out is they're definitely packing the paint to make sure that you're not getting easy layups. And they're also helping out. They're having the big men help out on the guards on the screen and roll, but have to fight to get back to their man. And I think we have some work to do on that. We have some work to do with the weak side or the backside helpers, right? If Noel helps out Elfrid Payton on the guard, right? Then you need another guy that comes over, to kind of help stop the guy from rolling or popping until Noel gets back to his man. All right, so I think that's something that we're going to have to work on, but it's a work in progress, work in progress. Joe, talk to me about what you've seen with the defense so far.
I love the defense. The Knicks actually playing defense for the first time in a long time that I remember seeing. What I do, I like seeing Randall work on defense, which makes a big difference. Because what I noticed last night about you can have, it didn't look as bad as people thought having Obi and Randall on the floor together defensively. It wasn't as bad. That might change with better competition or just in the regular season, but that seemed to be a positive because I think having Randall play defense means that you don't have to worry about the two of them. You just got to worry about Obi that you have. So that's a positive. The switching, they're not switching as much. They're sticking man to man, which I like. DSJ playing defense. He hasn't been too good on offense, but defensively he looks decent. Mm-hmm. So at least that's where you got to start off. We got to start off with a foundation of where's this team's identity, and with this team's identity this year, it's probably going to be defense.
It's got to be defense. It's going to
be.
Yeah, and the thing with Randall, now there are some times when he missed some rotations. He's got to hit those rotations. But I am seeing him make an effort to play defense, make an effort to hustle. There are some of those times when, he's helping out Elfrid Payton, helping the guard, and then he's got to get back out. That's where you're seeing Blake Griffin. Like the first wide open 3-pointer that Blake Griffin had last night. I had a caller up last night, and he said, Randall got lost down in the corner. I went back and I watched it because I wanted to see exactly what he was talking about. He didn't get lost down in the corner. He actually helped Elfrid Payton because Blake Griffin set a screen. The ball was swung from the opposite side of the floor, set a screen on Elfrid Payton, right? Killian Hayes came off the screen. Julius Randle helped. They were down in the corner. Right? When Julius Randle helped, Blake Griffin faded to the top of the key. Okay, now it is the guard on the opposite side of the floor that is supposed to get that rotation. When the ball gets popped out to Blake Griffin, the guard is supposed to come over and help until the big man can recover, and then the guard gets back to their man. Instead, Alec Burks, he didn't help. He went towards his man, which means Blake Griffin was left out there until Julius Randle could try to recover and block the shot. We've seen that happen a couple of times. One time it happened with Sekou as well, right? Randle, but this time they actually did it correctly. Sekou made the jump shot, but they did it correctly. All right, Randle was guarding Sekou. I think Sekou set a screen on Elfrid Payton, but I think Derrick Rose had the ball. Derrick Rose started to penetrate to the basket. Julius Randle helped out. The ball popped back out to Sekou. Right, Mitchell Robinson went out there to contest Sekou's jump shot, while Randle took Mitchell Robinson's guy. Robinson was right there. He just made the jump shot. Okay, so I think there's some work on those rotational switches that have to be done between all the players and how to communicate. You've seen Alec Burks and Julius Randle. I don't want to say they got into an argument, but had a communication about a guy that was open on the perimeter when they were out there. But that communication is what's going to be the key when you're talking about defensively. It's not going to be perfect. They're going to have to talk with each other. A good offense will try to confuse the defense. That's where the communication comes in. You know what I'm saying? The guys talking.
Elfrid Payton acknowledged a missed rotation one play to defensive play as well. Raised his hand after he missed the big man rotating to the rim.
Hey, Sam, can I ask you a question?
So it really does take the guys. 1 second. It really does take these guys talking, a lot of talking. We can't hear it on TV. But coaches, especially in a quiet arena with no fans, should be able to hear if the guys are actually talking on defense. And let me tell you what, having no fans out there may help a lot of teams defensively, because now coaches can actually hear if you're talking or not. When you got all these fans, 20,000 fans in the arena, you may not be able to hear if the players are actually talking on the floor because there's all, so much noise going on in the arena. No fans there. Now you can hear. And if they're not talking, you can let them know, like, they know. The coaches know if the players are talking or not. The players can hear the coaches can hear the communication on the floor. And if Julius Randle says, no, that was your rotation, but it was his rotation, the coach knows. The coach can hear it. So I think that can make a difference for a lot of teams defensively. Teams that aren't already good defensively can help them out defensively, I think. We'll see. Let me get to Josh, and then I'll come back to you, Big Bubba. Josh, defensively, man, what are you seeing from the Knicks so far?
I like what I'm seeing. I think they are talking. They're playing a much more team defense in Tom Thibodeau's scheme. But like I mentioned before, I think the Knicks are missing sort of a defensive anchor, if that makes sense. We were hoping Mitchell Robinson was going to be that person, or Nerlens Noel, but I really don't think the Knicks have that type of defensive anchor. But despite all of that, they're still playing good team defense. Detroit only scored 99 points. Like Andy mentioned, 110 points is pretty much the number that you need to get to in order to say you pretty much won the game. And the Knicks aren't going to be able to score that amount of points. So defense needs to be the emphasis. And I think that it is the emphasis on this team, because I think Thibodeau realizes that we don't have enough scoring. One thing that I also want to mention is that defense leads to offense. Mm-hmm. Okay, we were talking about it before. This team needs to run. We want this team to get up and down the floor, but that needs to come off of playing solid, sound defense, disciplined defense, getting that rebound, and being able to push the ball up the court. If the Knicks don't have that, they can't be able to get those easy points that we so desperately need. So I think they are playing well defensively. I mean, last game, it's just one game, but they held Detroit on to only 99 points, and I think that's a very good score for an opposing team to have if we want to be successful. Anything under 100 points.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, you're right. Defense leads to offense. We just got to make sure we're converting on our layups. The past two games, I seen Randle on a fast break miss a layup. I seen RJ on a fast break miss a layup. those are our two top scorers. I mean, and I know they usually make those things, and it's preseason. But, I guess I got PTSD. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a team, like I told you last night, I had a team that could play crazy defense, and we would shut everybody down. We get 5 steals in a row, make 1 layup. So, it's hammered in the back of my brain. We got to be able to make those layups. If you're going to get steals, you're going to create turnovers, grab the defensive rebound, you got to turn it into points, especially when you're on a fast break. Big Bubba, go ahead, man.
Listen,
man, just go ahead, man. Come on, Big Bubba. That's your name now. Just get used to it. It's your name now. You wasn't even on last night, and I looked in the chat and I seen somebody saying Big Bubba. They were like, that fits his name. They were like, that fits Isaiah so perfectly. So just go ahead. It's your name now. Get used to it.
Yeah. Listen, anybody in that chat won't call me Big Bubba. There's no your girl call me Big Bubba. I just want you to know.
Man, come on, man. Come on, man. Just come on, man.
So look, right. So I was gonna say something negative about the Knicks, but I'm gonna keep it positive because you said no negativity today. Even though,
no, what I'm saying is be truthful. Just be truthful. Just speak on it and be truthful. You don't gotta be negative and you ain't gotta be sarcastic. Just be truthful about the team. We're talking about the defense right now.
Well, okay, defensively, I'm going to be real with you. So, on a positive, which I really like, which I hope Tom Thibodeau does go to, is the Quickly and Ntilikina backcourt. I think that right there has a lot of potential. They're both pretty long, pause. They're both pretty long. And when it comes to
Quickly, surprising to me, Quickly actually looked pretty small on the floor the other day. When I looked at him compared to everyone, I was like, wow, this is a small dude.
I mean, he's 6'3", but I think he has like a 7 foot wingspan.
6'10" wingspan.
Well, 6'10", so that's almost 7 feet.
Yeah.
He just looked small. Maybe it's just structure or something. But he just looked small on the court.
So I mean, how old is he? Like 20?
Is he 21? I think 20 or 21. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's still young. He's gonna have that the baby weight. But I really think, seriously though, I really do think that backcourt can really do something if they're in the second unit. Like I said, I think those two can definitely shut down the opposing backcourt, and give them a lot of problems. I liked it last night, even though it was quick. No pun intended. It was. I think it would be definitely really good to use in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, just some numbers from the Knicks defense over the first 2 games. As I mentioned earlier, the defensive rating is 91. And yes, I know they've only played the Detroit Pistons. So the numbers are going to be very, very skewed, but it's something to build off of. All right. The defensive rating is 91. All right. Opponents' second chance points. The Knicks are giving up 6.5 second chance points. That's right now 5th in the league, and it's only preseason. I get it. All right. Points in the paint. All right. The Knicks are giving up 34 points in the paint. That's like 5th in the league. But the reason why I bring that up, those 2 things, is because Tom Thibodeau said he has made it, that they've made an effort to keep teams out of the paint. That's the reason why, you're seeing defensively they are clogging the paint. And so for them to have only giving up 33, 34 points in the paint over the first 2 preseason games, both against Detroit, that means that they've accomplished what they're trying to do. That's 5th in the league. All teams have only played 1, 2, or 3 preseason games, all right? Second chance points, they're rebounding the basketball for them to have only given up 6.5 second chance points per game. That means that they're doing what they set out to do. Right? Because there are teams that have given up 21 points, 22 points, and they've played 3 games already. Right? Giving up 22 second chance points per game so far. So these are some things that I think we could point to as a positive for the Knicks. One area, we have Mitchell Robinson, we have Nerlens Noel, but the Knicks are only getting like 3.5 blocks per game. And you can look at it, I think you can look at it as a positive and a negative, right? It can be negative because you say, well, man, they're not protecting the rim. Or it could be positive because maybe guys aren't getting to the rim. So these guys don't need to get the blocks if they're not getting to the rim, right? Maybe Mitchell Robinson last year averaged 3 blocks a game or whatever he averaged because we had guys getting to the rim 25 times per game. So we had the block shots. You know what I'm saying? If guys aren't getting to the rim, then maybe they don't have to block as many shots. Maybe Mitchell Robinson doesn't need to get as many weak side block shots, or block shots from the weak side.
Well, Sam, you know what the thing is, though, just to chime up to what you're saying is sometimes getting the block shot's not the most important thing. Altering the shot or them not coming in the paint in general is as equivalent as a block shot. Because like I said before, you can block a shot out of bounds. Boom, it's their ball and they score. Now, does that block shot even do anything? So, if we have the defense right now where, again, like you said last year, I felt like our guards weren't not stepping up on the perimeter. So, boom, they got past. If it wasn't Frank, pretty much, they were getting past our guards. And then what did Mitchell have to do? Block the shots. Right. Or, get a foul. So, this is easy. So I don't want people to start thinking, well, if we got Mitchell Noel, we should be averaging 6 blocks a game between those two. It'd be more important if we're only getting 3 blocks, that means, hey, our perimeter defense must be getting better so that these guys are not just going in the paint and then Mitchell and Noel has a block and shot. So again, people, this is where we got to separate sometimes the stats, and look at what we're seeing and on the court, versus if we have a game where we only get 2 blocks. You know what I'm saying? So.
No, exactly. And I feel like that's what's happening. We're getting a little bit more defensive pressure on the guards. We didn't as much last night in the first half. Right? In the first half, we were a little bit lackadaisical. Second half, that third quarter, though, we came out with some fire on the defensive side of the ball. And that's what got us the lead back in the third quarter. Let me get to a couple of phone calls, and then we'll come back, and I want to talk about the offensive side of the ball because that will be the Achilles heel this season, I believe, is that offensive side of the ball. Well, the phone call hung up, so I guess we'll go ahead and jump into it. Andy, before we even look at any numbers, tell me what you're seeing on the offensive side.
And a long pause. No, but to be real, I just noticed it yesterday when you said that it's going to be hard for us to score that many points. And when you think about it, when you look at the guys' averages from last season and the guys that we have currently on the squad, if they even just had the same averages that they were having last season, would we be having 100 points on the board? I don't think so.
You talk about you talk about their points per game.
Yeah, points per game from last season average. When you add it up, I don't think we would have 100 points. For this, and that means they have to overachieve, basically. Putting aside the development from season to season, right? They would have to overachieve. And you can probably add, I don't know, like Alec Burks, he can probably have a couple of points more from last season because he would have a bigger role on this team than he had on his previous team, right? Maybe Austin Rivers would have a couple of points more, but I don't think you can add to every average from last season a couple of points because just we need the points, right? It's not going to be that easy, and it's not going to be every game, right? And even as we saw the first 2 games, look at the centers, right? First game, Nerlens Noel has a really efficient game. In the second game, he looks like he has butter fingers, right? He was losing all the balls. So there's no consistency there. when you look at Mitch, in the first game, he was like, a little bit shaky. In the second game, a little bit better probably, right? So, you can count on a couple of points, but it's not going to be 10 points, 12, 15 points each center we have. So when you look at it, let's say, Julie is going to average around 20. RJ is going to average around 20. Let's say one is going to have 25, the other one is going to have 20, right? So that's 45 points. So we're half the way with two players. But when you look at the rest of the squad,
and then where else we getting?
Well,
we don't know what Obi can do yet, but
yeah. But let's say he's gonna have like double digits, but the next guy is gonna be like what, 9? Even if he's gonna have 10 points, you're at 70, right? You're at 70, and then you have to have like, I don't know, 4 or 5 guys with like 7, 8 points per game averages, right?
Yeah.
And without the consistency, that's not going to be every night. And that's only 100 points. To win most of the games, you're going to need like 110 or 115. So, that, and this is when I was thinking, that Josh was, speaking loudly about Westbrook and stuff. He would give you like an extra 30 points, right? So you could have those 2-3 scrappy guys just running around the court, right, with Westbrook. But, Westbrook is another tale, and we're not going to mention him, right? But this is the thing, that if you would have a real star player, he's going to average on this kind of a team, those 30 every night.
Right. Right. And, yeah, Tony, what are you taking from the offense right now?
Encouraging-wise, I think we're taking good shots. I think our shooting percentage is going to turn around.
Okay.
I think Alec Burke, is that his name?
Yeah.
I think he needs to be featured a little bit more. At least from a shooting standpoint. I think he could do a lot offensively in general. But I think a couple more featured plays, a half or whatever, I think that'll do well. I think we could break 100. I think we could. We would have to overachieve, but I think a guy like Knox is gonna have to give us that 12 like he did his rookie season. The question mark though is scoring from the point guard position.
That's true.
That is what's gonna kill us more than anything else.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Tony.
Yeah, but Tony, just to add to the point, like you said, like Knox is gonna, score in the first year he had, right? He had average like 12 points.
It was 12
season, but he was playing 30 minutes. He's not gonna get 30 minutes on this.
I don't think he needs 30. Like Tibbs said, with his cutting out the bad shots and just shooting high percentage shots or in rhythm shots. I think that's gonna bring his percentage up. So
yeah, definitely, Tony. But
percentage is up. If he can make.
That's just, if you are counting, he just developed, and that means he developed a really good step forward, that he's going to eliminate the bad shots and only take good shots. If everybody would be doing like that, of course they're going to look that they're overachieving, right? Question is, we didn't want Julius to do the spin moves, and we still saw them. So
we haven't
easier said than done.
We've seen it like twice. Maybe once a game this shit so far.
Yeah,
it was more than twice.
But it's definitely
the
less.
Spin move?
Definitely less. So
or the spin move being a turnover.
Exactly, Tony.
Yeah.
The spin move going and becoming a turnover. That's what you really want to focus on. Some people say, well, this was unnecessary, that was unnecessary, and that happens. And there'll be players who do dribble moves or do whatever it is that's unnecessary, and you don't have to do it. But I think the concern is the turnover. That's the concern, right? When you look at the Knicks offense so far, they are, and it's only 2 preseason games, but they're last in the league in scoring. you know, when you talk about 2 preseason games, right? 90.5 points. Well, take it for what it's worth because it's only been 2 preseason games, and admittedly so from all the players, including the coach, the defense is ahead of the offense right now, right? So, you know, we'll see if they're able to get anything going or muster up anything. The field goal percentage so far, the New York Knicks are shooting over these 2 games 42.5% from the field. From the 3-point line, the Knicks are shooting 28% from the field. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold up. Let me get that right. From the 3-point line, the Knicks are shooting 23.2% from the 3-point line. All right. Right. I should have just been quiet and kept it with the first one. Right. 23.2%. Let me see their free throw percentage. The New York Knicks free throw percentage so far, they're shooting 57.8% from the free throw line so far. I mean, the offense has been rough for the Knicks. They're averaging 13 offensive rebounds. It makes sense if they're missing so many shots, right? Assists per game at the moment, the Knicks are averaging 21 assists per game. You know, that's, about middle of the pack in the league. The offense isn't looking good right now. You know, it's going to be tough. It's tough for them right now to find scoring, but there are a few things that I think I can pull away from what they're doing on offense. But I don't know. I agree with you, Andy. You know, when you look at who scores the ball so far.
And that's probably why they want to run fast. More opportunities to score is going to be, more points on the board. That's their mind thought, probably the mind process.
And I do want to say something about the offense. So to me, right, these first 2 games have been pretty hard to watch. Definitely, these first 2 preseason to me are screaming point guard. We need a point guard because just to point out in the second game. I will say that, and to me, this is not a negative for Dennis Smith Jr., is that I just don't think Dennis Smith Jr. should be running the point. I think he should be. I watched the video last night, son, with you and the guys. I do believe Dennis Smith Jr. should be playing some off ball. I really think, and there's nothing wrong with him, not playing off ball. I just think he should be doing that and letting somebody else run the first, because last night I just seen a lot of confusion, a lot of unorganized with the second unit, where I just don't think guys knew where they were going. I seen Kevin Knox jacking up shots. I feel like when the play broke down, it was just, I seen Kevin Knox take bad shots. I've seen Obi Toppin take bad shots where we're just like, we don't know what to do. After our first reaction, we don't know what to do. So it's like, I'm not even seeing good screens. I'm not seeing that even going on. That should be naturally happening. So I think for Dennis Smith's best sake, for him too, is to go off the ball because he just didn't look really good doing it. Maybe let Frank run the first unit, let him get on the ball more, because I see them playing him a little off ball. Also, I would definitely love to get Miles Powell in there. I would love to see what Miles Powell can do. I would also love to see what Iggy can do. I feel like Iggy can be a great corner 3-point shooter, a guy that can, do a little something. Now, maybe he's more destined to go to the G League, which a lot of Knicks fans don't want to hear, but hey, that's probably going to be a thing. But I would definitely like to see like Miles Powell quickly run the first or run the second unit, maybe or Frank to run the second unit, see what they can do, just to get the second unit and organized.
Yeah. And I hate to burst your bubble, but I don't think Miles Powell or Iggy are going to be breaking a rotation on this team. To be honest with you, I really don't. I really don't.
I kind of figured that.
Yeah.
But I would still like to see Miles Powell just a little bit in the preseason, because I think he has a lot of potential. And I think he can do. And again, right, he's most likely going to be in the G League. But it's just kind of tough watching DSJ run the point when it's just like, no offense, he just can't. It's not his game. That's not his style.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're working on something and trying to develop something with him. And I'm willing to let it go for these preseason games and see what happens. Let me get to this caller. Caller, you live. What's popping?
What's going on, Tim? How's everything, bro?
I'm good, my brother. How you feeling?
Pretty good, not bad, man. I actually wanted to talk about Kevin Knox for a minute.
All right.
That's cool.
All right.
Yeah. I know you're a big fan of him, just the way I've seen you talk about him, but I don't know. I think he's terrible. Like, I mean, we say, he's only here. We say, he's a great shooter, but where? He shooting air balls last night. No, if he's not shooting, he's not bringing nothing else to the table because he's not a defender. He was getting lit up by Josh Jackson last night. He's not a rebounder. He's not a guy who's a great passer. I mean, he's throwing lobs to Mitch, but that's kind of easy with his length and finishing. But no, I just think he's just going to end up being a top 10 pick. That's a bust for us. I didn't think he's playable at this point.
Did anybody in that second unit impress you last night?
No, but you expect more from a player who it's taken with the top 10 pick. You can't make Josh Jackson look like an all-star.
Josh Jackson was a top 3 pick in the NBA. He's a young guy that's still trying to come into his own as well. You know what I'm saying? To deal with Josh Jackson, I actually wish that the Knicks would have taken a chance on Josh Jackson. I spoke about it a few streams ago, that I thought the Knicks had the structure in place to deal with someone who may come with some issues like Josh Jackson does. The reason why Josh Jackson has struggled so far in the NBA has been character issues. I don't know if it's exactly talent issues. And if Detroit can unlock something with him, they may have a player. You know what I mean?
I just feel like he's always a step slow on both ends. He's getting, he's just giving up late on rotations, or he's just getting, he's letting guys drive by him easily. And then offensively, what I think with his shooting, like Alfred Payton, he has no arc. But I look at Knox, I think he actually might have too much arc. I realized that with Obi Toppin also. They both shoot very, very high. I think maybe they have a little too much arc on their jump shot.
I have noticed that Kevin Knox has. I thought you was about to say for a second that Kevin Knox didn't have arc on his shot. But you're right.
No. I think he has too much. Same with Toppin. They shoot very, very high in their jump shot.
They do shoot high. Yeah. I don't think that's the reason for missing shots on either player. Right, Obi went 1 for 6 from the 3-point line, I think, last night.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because he's shooting. I don't think it's because he's shooting too high. I think he just missed the shots. Kevin Knox. That whole second unit. I think you're gonna have to give it a few. You gotta have to give, if that's gonna be the second unit. Let them come together and start to develop something that they can do. They don't have. There's nothing there right now.
I just get frustrated just because, you see some talent, but especially knowing he's a top 10 pick, you just hope you get more out of him. I feel like with Knox, we kind of put unreasonable expectations in a way. I think Knicks fans, we kind of have, I don't know, I think it's a misconception, at least in my eyes. You may think I'm wrong. His rookie year, I feel like Knicks fans hype it up like it was something great, and I don't think it was that good of a rookie year, to be honest with you. When I watched him defensively, he was one of the most inefficient players in the league. I think he shot like 36% his rookie year from the field. I just think we looked at him as like, this guy was going to really help turn us into a good team. And I just kind of think we overhyped his rookie year a little bit. We just made the expectations too high, I feel like, in a way.
Yep.
Who did? The team or the fans?
The fans. Yeah. I wasn't overly impressed by his rookie season. That's just me. Maybe I'm a harsh critic, but I just, his rookie year just didn't impress me much. His field goal percentage was really poor. Defensively, he was really bad. So I just think we, got maybe a little too hyped about Kevin Knox from his rookie season, just a little bit.
Well, you know what? This is his third year in the league, and we'll see, how things pan out for him, by the time we get to the end of the season.
Hopefully he just improve, hopefully he just improves this year, but I'm not hopeful. I'll just keep it at that.
Okay. All right. Hey, my man, I appreciate your call, bro.
I appreciate it. Have a good one, man. Thank you.
You too. Peace.
Hey, Sim, I just wanted to say something about what the caller just said about Kevin Knox.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting, right? And again, I was on Gilmore's channel last night. Shout out to Nick Sleeves on the podcast. But he said something that really stuck out to me about Kevin Knox. To me, what Kevin Knox is doing is letting his game being dictated by his shots. Like I seen last night that he was trying to get the jumper going. He was trying to get that going. And I felt like that he's to me letting his offense dictate how his game is played. That's what I see from him right now, where he's doing a lot of things just to get the offense going. Like, in his interviews, I felt like he was really confident, and I was really happy because I'm thinking he's learning that, hey, it's not about the offense for me. I can do things on the defensive end. I can move my feet, hands up, put my hands in the passing lane to get everything else going for me, and that will open up, and maybe he'll get some fast break, easy points to get him rhythm. But to me, with Kevin Knox, what I seen last night was just that, he's just trying to get the offense going so that the rest of his game can be dictated to that. So I think for Kevin Knox, he just has to let all the other things come first versus just his offense getting everything else going for him. He has to get that motor of, we got to play defense. I got to play defense better to get everything else unlocked.
Okay. All right. Josh?
No. So I just want to, comment on what Andy was talking about earlier in regards to that superstar player that, we need to get in here in order to score 30 points consistently. So not only bringing a superstar, not only will you get that point production, but you also get good looks for other people on the team by bringing in someone like that. So I'll give you an example. The person who led the Knicks in assists the last game, I think the first game too, was Julius Randle.
No,
right?
Alfred Payton led him in assists the first game.
In the second game, it was Julius Randle, right?
Yep.
And what I'm saying is the reason why Julius Randle was able to lead the team in assists is because he draws 3 or 4 people on him every single time. And I think we get caught up a lot on point guard play, saying we need to have a point guard in here to be able to dish the ball out. But I think we just need a guard in here that can be able to get to the paint whenever he wants, to be able to score. And I think that will be able to open up the floor for a lot of other people on the team. The Knicks, they don't necessarily, it's not like a lack of shooting, like as far as personnel is concerned. I feel like Alec Burks and Reggie Bullock has the potential to be really good shooters on this team. But if we don't have anybody that can be able to get to the paint and be a threat scoring, then these guys are not going to get the type of looks that we want them to have in rhythm, because they can shoot. We've already alluded to the fact that they can shoot. Alec Burks can shoot the basketball. Reggie Bullock can shoot the basketball. But, there's no real threat from a guard perspective to get to the paint, to be able to kick the ball out, to get these guys good looks in rhythm. And this is why I'm coming down on RJ Barrett, because I feel like he has the ability to slash. He has the ability to score 25 points per game. That's what we want RJ Barrett to do. But, if RJ Barrett is going to be that guy and we don't want Julius Randle to be that guy, then RJ Barrett has to be able to up his numbers in assists. That's his next step in development. And that's what I was talking about as far as making other players better on the team, from the star player, whoever the best player on the team is. And that's why the Knicks are better when Julius Randle's on the floor.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing. At this moment, we don't have a star player, and we're probably not going to be getting a star player anytime soon. So we've got to find a way to generate that penetration without a star player.
Right. And what I'm saying is
that's going to be on the coaching staff. Like, how do you generate somebody who's paying attention to the paint? How do you generate some plays, some actions where the opposing defenses have to pay attention to the paint so that the ball can be kicked out? There are ways to generate that kind of action, and it's going to take team play. Now, it may take some time for these guys to get that kind of an offensive system together, but they're going to have to do it by committee at this point.
Sam, what I'm saying is forget the superstar thing, okay? Let's throw that out the window. What I'm talking about is the guys that we currently have on the roster, like RJ, like Julius Randle. Julius Randle led the team in assists yesterday. Why? Because he was getting the majority of the opportunities. Guys came to him, and he was able to kick the ball out and get those assists. RJ Barrett needs to be able to do the same thing. If RJ Barrett is going to score 25 points, I want to see that 25 points be able to be contagious and get other guys involved in the game as well. Okay. I'm not saying RJ Barrett needs to pass the ball more, but I'm saying his play, his ability to score and get to the paint whenever he wants to, that has to be contagious amongst the team.
Okay, that's to be fair to RJ though, there were several times last night where he penetrated, he kicked it to Nerlens Noel. Noel dropped it out of bounds. Turnover.
Okay.
Right. I don't know who was attributed to turnover, but it was a turnover. I don't care who was attributed to turnover. It was a turnover. Right. There was one more time in the second half when RJ, I think it was Noel again, found Noel And I don't know if Noel missed the layup or he lost the ball out of bounds again. Those are two should have been assists for RJ that were not. Right? Where he would have been second on the team in assists last night if those two plays were converted. So, let's see. I think he's touching the ball. Right now, I mean, he's leading the team in shot attempts. Right? I think he's averaging about 17, 18 shot attempts a game. He's leading the team in scoring. RJ Barrett's averaging 20 points per game so far. It's 2 preseason games, but he's averaging 20 points per game. He's shooting like 50% from the field over these 2 games. And he's gonna continue to touch the ball more and more and more. Right? So let's see what he does. Let's see what he does and how it goes and how it develops. Right now, the offense is just not developed at all. They're not doing many actions on the offensive side. I think they're trying to push the ball up when they can. Right? You see Julius Randle get the ball off the glass and go coast to coast. You see RJ get the ball off the glass and go coast to coast. That's not exactly my idea of pushing the ball up, though, efficiently. Right? To me, that's not the way it should be done, and you want it to be done. You want to see the ball get passed up the floor and a bunch of guys get involved. But I don't know what Tom Thibodeau is telling these guys to do. Right? But this is where we are offensively. Mark, talk to us about the offense, man.
Yesterday, you hear me, Sam?
I can hear you, man.
Okay, yesterday I didn't like when Tom Thibodeau did it subbing Frank with the second unit because I thought the first game he was one of the reasons why the Knicks' intensity was up to par.
I agree.
When you watch the second half, when he brung in Dennis Jr., Frank has to play with Dennis Jr. because with him, Sim, he can't read the game quick enough as a point guard. It's not clicking for him. He's holding the ball too long without making a move. Listen, I tell people, you don't have to hold the ball. Give the ball. The ball needs synergy. This team is full of players that needs rhythm. Rhythm. So when people talk about Knox is predicated. He needs a point guard. He needs it. RJ plays in the flow of the game. If y'all watch him, he plays in the flow of the game. So yesterday, I watched Tom Thibodeau call a lot of sets. This team was not executing, Sim. When the ball was getting to Julius Randle, he was waiting for the double teams to come, and then he goes. His job is when he gets the ball, it's to make quick actions. It's all about making quick action. The Knicks aren't making quicker actions like they did the first game. That was the difference.
Honestly, I disagree with you because I don't think they were actually making quick actions the first game. They scored 90 points both games. I don't think they were making. They weren't. Hold up. Let me finish. They weren't making quick actions the first game. I actually thought it got better in the second game than in the first game. You know what I'm saying?
3 quarters when we scored.
Can I finish? Let me finish. Right? Scoring does not always mean that you're not moving the ball properly. Because sometimes you just do not have the efficiency to finish. But I thought that the ball actually moved out of their hands. Sometimes it had to because they were in a zone and they had to move the ball quicker. Just because you don't put the ball in the basket does not mean that you didn't pass the basketball. They scored the same amount of points in the second game as they did in the first game. I saw plenty of times. As a matter of fact, in the first quarter, I can remember Julius Randle catching the ball quickly at the elbow and dipping it over to Nerlens Noel really quick. Nerlens Noel had the mid-range jump shot. He didn't convert it.
So let me ask you a question.
Right, I seen RJ move the ball with the same level of speed, not all the time, and it's not going to happen every time when you're trying to get your offense in rhythm, when you're trying to get it in play. Right, but I seen RJ move the ball with a better level of speed. I seen guys get bottled up. I seen guys hold the ball too long. Yes, I did. But I did see them move it a little bit quicker at times than they did in the first game.
So the first game they played with more pace than they played the second game, son. This is a
because
fact.
they generated steals. because they generated steals.
Okay, so what I'm telling you is, for their success, they need to play at a speed, because they don't have their half court sets they don't know how to run it yet. So in that case, you have to play with a pace. You have to have the ball moving, because the ball, even even in the first three halves, the offense looked better compared to when they got into the fourth quarter. I'm talking about the first 3 quarters of the first game. It was good. It was good. The pace was good. The ball movement was good till the fourth quarter, because we was up. Detroit started playing the zone. We got bottled up in the zone, and that's what happened. And now Detroit, when it came in the second game, Detroit went zone because they knew to stop the paint. They were just guarding the paint the whole time. And on top of that, they guards got away because Frank was the reason why they guard play was all out of sorts. So when Tibbs didn't go with Frank to start with that second unit, that's where he went wrong, because he set the tempo and he set the defensive presence in the first game when he came off the bench with Dennis Smith. Now, because the second game, the coach of Detroit adjusted very, very well in the zone. They didn't know how to beat the zone. They just did not pass the ball. The zone is pass the ball. They wasn't doing it.
Actually, they did pass the basketball. They just didn't make the shots when they passed the back. I sat there and watched. I watched the game twice yesterday. I watched it twice, specifically so I can look at what they were doing in the zone. And in the zone, they had somebody flash into the middle, and then they would swing the ball to the opposite side. They did pass the ball. They didn't make the shots because they didn't have the shooters in the game. I watched it twice, specifically to look at the zone.
Yeah, and Sim, just to chime in real quick, Sim, at the end of the day, right, the good thing is that when they passed out the zone, they made the correct basketball move. Now, they didn't make the shot, which we all want. But if you keep doing that and you keep being dedicated to when we see zone defenses and we get it to the correct person and make the right basketball move, eventually they're gonna fall. It just old Knicks teams, they'll be like, well, this ain't working, so let's try something else. No, you gotta keep doing what's the right play. And eventually those shots will happen. So again, people just gotta be patient. We gotta be patient.
There's two ways that I see you can beat the zone. One, right, you got to be able to pass the ball and knock out shots. Right? Yep. If you don't knock those deep threes down, then teams are not going to. They're going to stay zone and they're going to keep you inside the zone. It's going to be hard to beat it. Another way you can beat it is by getting the ball out the net and getting the ball up the floor, and do not let them set their zone up. If you can get the ball out the net and push the ball up the floor, and I'm not talking about dribbling up the floor, I'm talking about passing the ball up the floor, right? You've seen several times last night where Julius Randle got the ball off the rim and went coast to coast. Once or twice, RJ went coast to coast. Really, those are the only two guys that are getting the ball off the rim and going coast to coast. I don't think anybody else is doing it, right? Each of them converted on scores doing that. But that's not the best for your offense, in my opinion, right? That's not the best. Every once in a while, it's going to happen, and you're going to get buckets that way, but that's not the best for your offense. You want to get the ball up, and you want to move the ball, right? But I think that they had more ball movement. It wasn't executed well, but I thought they tried to move the ball a little bit faster last night than they did in the first game. In the first game, as a matter of fact, they came out right off the bat with a set for RJ Barrett, with a nice set play, and he got a layup at the rim. Right? I thought that they tried to execute more sets last night than in the first game, and I think we'll continue to see game after game that there'll be more sets being executed, and more things happening on the offensive side of the floor. Joe, what do you think so far, man?
I think every team in the NBA knows there's one way to beat us, and that's play zone. We're not going to be able to get into the paint. What I noticed last night was they kept Obi outside, and Obi couldn't play his game, and that's why you seen him take 6 threes, because he was trying to play from the outside. And that's how teams is going to beat us until we get playmaking. I'm not saying just a point guard, but we need a facilitator or a playmaker in this team, and preferably from the point guard position. We can't go into this regular season to the point guard what we have. I know we're going to, but it's going to be a long season if we do. I like DSJ. He's not a facilitator. He needs to learn to play off ball more. He needs to be able to shoot quickly. They play quickly on ball. Quickly's not on ball, and Quickly can't create his own shot. The team needs to start setting more screens. I'm not seeing any screens or any movement. I'm just seeing ball just being passed over and back, wasting 34 or the shot clock. Like DSJ was going over and back. He wasn't going forward. He wasn't. They weren't. Just the point guards we have aren't. Peyton is the closest to a primary point guard, but the problem with Peyton is the reason why he's been in so many teams is because he's not consistent. He had a good first game. The second game, that's why he only played 18 minutes because he wasn't consistent. We need a consistent point guard. It doesn't have to be a point guard that's going to come in and
let me ask you this because I want to know what you consider consistent from him. Would you take he scored 10 points and 7 assists in the first game? Would you take that every game?
I would take that every game. If he could do that every game first, we have at least we have someone that can at least play the position.
But isn't that his career averages?
Yeah,
those are his
better.
Career averages. He may not score 10 points and 7 assists every single time he hits the floor. Nobody's going to have the same exact stats every time they hit the floor. But that's what he averaged for us last season. That's what he's averaged for his career. I'm not saying that he's a starting level point guard, but he's been consistent with what he does, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. He's not a starting level. He's the best what we have. So that's who we're probably going to roll with. I want to see Austin Rivers play the one because at least he can shoot.
But Austin Rivers isn't really a point guard though.
But you know, but you know what? I feel like with what neither was Kirk Heinrich, right? Mm-hmm. But when Derrick Rose was out, he manned that point guard position for Tom Thibodeau, right? You don't. With what Tom Thibodeau was going to do,
and Joakim Noah,
and Joakim, but that's the reason why Kirk Heinrich didn't have to be that type of point guard because he was able to utilize other people on the floor. Tom Thibodeau was able to utilize other people on the floor, right? So if Austin Rivers can come in, and you don't have to be the guy that's just getting you mad assists every game, you can facilitate the team without always being the one who gets the assist. We'll see what Austin Rivers can do. I do agree with Joe that when Austin Rivers comes back, I think he may have at least something to say about that point guard spot. You know?
Yeah, because he can shoot, he can create his own shot, and he can penetrate to the basket. That's what we need. We need someone to help RJ. To me, is you need shooters around RJ because RJ can. I disagree with what Josh was saying about RJ's playmaking because RJ was kicking the ball out and guys weren't making shots. That's not on RJ. He's doing his job. He's getting the ball out to guys. They're not dropping the shots. So
let me clarify that real quick. So I'm not saying that RJ didn't do those things. I'm saying I want to see that consistently. If he's going to be our best player, that's what we need to see. 25 points is 25 points, but at the same time, I want to see what that 25 points can do for the other guys on the team. Yeah. So if RJ is kicking the ball out and he's doing those good habits, which he is, I want to see that more consistently. I want to see that 25 points get other guys involved. You know, that's what the best players on the team do. If you look at almost every team in the NBA, their best player pretty much leads them in assists. And the only caveat to that, hold on. The only caveat to that is if they have a point guard on the roster that leads the team in assists. But outside of that, you look at Houston. James Harden led them in assists last year, and he was the leading scorer in the NBA. Look at LA, LeBron James. He leads them in assists. The best player on the team. If you don't have a point guard in your roster, the best player on the team should lead you in assists. That's why Julius Randle is pretty much in the conversation.
But Josh,
leading the team in assists.
But my thing with that, you're saying stuff like that. But let's be really clear. Does James Harden really make players around him better? Does he really?
Yeah. About him being on the floor? You telling me he doesn't get open looks from guys on the floor?
Do you know how many times players complain with James that it's literally they're watching him just dribble? Like, of course it looks good because of course it looks good. Don't listen to them.
Regardless of that,
don't listen to the players that are playing
one at
with
a time. One at a time.
So you want me to not listen to the players that are playing with him?
I'm not saying that. Let me respond to you. What I'm saying is his ability to isolate and do that one-on-one stuff, that gets other guys open looks because you have to respect that. You have to double team that. So that in turn is going to get the guys other looks, not just shooting, but his ability to get to the basket.
But Josh, there's a reason why that the year they got CP3, they were actually real contenders. They were actually
because they got a point guard.
Yeah, so again, what is your point with James Harden about, the number one guy makes these plays? There's only a few guys that really make their teammates better. One's Giannis, LeBron James, then you could probably think of Steph Curry. Those are only a few people that really make their players better.
What I'm saying is
not that many people that really do it.
What I'm saying is if you don't have that point guard on the roster, then the best player on the team needs to lead you in assists because they're going to get the majority of the points. They're going to get the majority of the looks, and defenses have to respect that. And that's what I'm saying. That's RJ's next step in his development. That's what we want him to be.
But they may not always lead you in assists. I think your best player may lead you in hockey assists, right? Because they get the double team, the ball gets passed out of the double team, and then it gets swung or it gets passed once or twice, right? So somebody else gets the shot. But it was the best player who drew that double team. Looking at RJ so far this season, then I'm going to get to this phone call. Looking at RJ so far, these 2 preseason games, it's looking good, right? People were a little bit shaky, a little bit nervous about, the first half of the first game when he shot, a couple of air balls and he was 0 for 6. But so far, 20 points. He's shooting 16.5 attempts per game over these first 2 games. Shooting 51.5% from the field. He's only shooting 11.1% from 3. But, let's give it a little time, right? Let's give it a little bit of time. I don't know how it says 3-pointers made 0.5. I don't know how that is, but, he's shooting 11.1% from 3. Let's give him some time. 71.4% from the free throw line, but he's only getting to the free throw line 3.5 times per game. I thought he would get there a little bit more, but the season's got a while to go. Last year, he got to the line 3 times per game. I actually thought he got to the line more times than that last season. He's averaging 4.5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, a half a steal a game. These stats are going to change significantly, but so far, he's shooting 51.5% from the field.
Hey, Sam, do you know what's funny? I forgot the exact number, but ever since that 0 for 6 starting quarter, he's been shooting over 50%, like you said. Like, ever since that 0 for 6 first quarter, ever since then, he's been shooting positively. So
yeah, well, he's shooting 51.5% for the season. Well, over these 2 games. So, it's a good start for RJ. Everyone's asking for him to get the most attempts at shooting the basketball. He's getting the most attempts at shooting the basketball.
Yep.
He's doing it at a high clip.
Yep.
Okay. So let's see where it goes. Let's see what happens. Right? I think that RJ can average, and listen, he's over these 2 games, it's 20 points without him even knocking down threes.
Mm-hmm.
Without him even knocking down threes. Now, can this last? Can he sustain it? We'll find out. All right, let me get to this phone. Let me get to this phone call first. Call you live. What's popping? Hey, yo.
Sam.
Yo, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. In the Christmas season, and we can't go out, working from home, We still doing 912. I almost forgot about you boys, and I flipped on, and I see the usual cast of characters, overseas Andy, Big Bubba Isaiah, Tony Cole, Blackest Time. My man Josh, Killer RJ Barrett. Josh, I'm going to need you to take that Giant shirt off immediately.
Oh, hold up. Whoa, wait a minute now. Hold up. You can't do that to the Giants, though. Come on, man.
We lose one game and y'all want to tell me. We lose one game.
But I hear y'all. All right, I hear y'all killing RJ, but not all of you, but Josh in particular.
Don't say Josh.
I'm not crazy.
You're killing RJ. What are you expecting? I'm trying to understand what do you want RJ to be in less than 2 years on this team?
Can I respond to that? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? All right, let me respond.
Yes, I can.
So I'm not killing RJ. I'm just talking about the next step in his development. We all hoping RJ is going to become this player anyway. I'm just highlighting the fact this is what he needs to do. That's all I'm saying. I'm not criticizing him. I like RJ Barrett. This is what I've been trying to say for the longest time. I like RJ Barrett, but we want him to be the best player on the team. And what I'm saying is he can get us that 25 points. I believe consistently he can do that. That's what he's going to develop to do. But is he going to make everybody else on the team better with that 25 points? That's the question, and that's what I'm saying. I think that's what I want to see him do. That's it.
Maybe he makes the team better by being efficient. Maybe he makes the team better by playing consistent defense. If we're talking about him making the team better by being an overall high 20s, high assist guy, that may not be his role. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody's going to come in the league and be Luka. See what I'm saying? Not everybody's going to come in the league and be LeBron. If RJ, for me, success for RJ right now, if RJ has, let's say, 19, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, that's a successful season for me, especially if the Knicks win, 30 games. That's a successful season for me for RJ right now because that's a mere step up because if he's averaging 19, that means you know what he's doing? He's probably shooting 70 to 75% from the free throw line.
Well, he's shooting 71% from the free throw line over these 2 games. It's just 2 games, but shooting 71%, and he's averaging 20 over these 2 games.
Right, which is an 11% markup from his season average last year. What did he shoot last year? 60%?
Like 60-something%. Yep.
60-something%, and he was getting to the line 5-6 times a game, maybe 6-7 times a game. So he has a knack to get into the line.
I actually thought it was that high. It was 3 times a game. That shocked me too. I thought he was getting to the line like 5-6 times a game, but he was shooting.
Was only getting to the line 3 times a game last year.
I'm sorry, you're right. He was getting to the line 6 times. He took 3 attempts. Wait a minute. He took No. He took 3. His attempts per game last year were 3 attempts per game. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the stats right now, and he took 3 free throw attempts per game last season. So that's actually getting to the line once or twice a game. I swear he got to the line more than that, but
he felt like he got to the line way more than that to me.
It felt like it.
Yeah, he felt like it. So I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I watched these 2 games. The first game, I like what I saw was the hustle. We got 6 point guards that this coach and this coaching staff has to weed through. You know what I mean? The final product isn't there yet. And as you said, Austin Rivers hasn't had his hand in this as of yet.
Yeah.
We don't know if Alex Burke is going to be the starting shooting guard, which he probably should be because he's got that 3-point J. So, let's just see. You know what I mean? Let's just see for a second. Let's not kill him. Let's not wipe him off just yet. You know what I mean? It's early. Game 2 in the
Nobody's wiping them off.
Yeah. And I'm anxious to see when Austin Rivers does get back. Like you said, he hasn't had his hand in it yet. I'm anxious to see what that's going to look like because he's going to bring something to the team. He's going to bring some more defensive intensity, and he's going to bring a level of IQ from that guard spot that we might not have out there right now.
And another thing that these guys are worried about is that you got a lot of guys behind you. Mm-hmm. When this coaching staff settles it down and is like, I'm going to play this 9, this 8, this 9 for whatever, that's what it's going to be. It's going to give you more. It's going to give the guys that's in the regular rotation more confidence, knowing that if they make a mistake, he's not going to yank them and he's not going to mix match the starting lineup every other game. See, that's a big thing in any sports is continuity. Right now, everybody's just trying to show out, trying to show that they're this or they're that. But once you know you're going to be in the rotation, that'll help your game, help your confidence, help you do as much as I care efforts, Peyton. You know what I mean? But if he knew that I'm going to be in this 8, what he gives to the team will look that much better.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. But fellas, y'all know what it is.
Yeah,
y'all know what it is. Knicks family, stay up.
No doubt. Be peaceful, bro.
All right, family.
All right.
Hey,
All right.
Hey, Sim, is that Jadakiss? I be low key feeling like that's Jadakiss sometimes, yo.
He does sound like Jadakiss a little bit, but it's not Jada. Trust me, I would know if it was Jada. Let me get to Mark real quick, then I'm gonna get to this phone call.
Oh, here we go with Mark.
What's up, fellas? How's everybody going?
Hold up, Kev. Hold up, Kev. Let me get the Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
I'm just saying hi. That was all.
Went to the line 4.5 times a game. He made 2.5 a game. He got to the line at least 5 times a game.
Who?
RJ Barrett.
I'm looking at the stats right now. Free throws made per game, 2019, 2020. Free throws made per game, 2. Free throw attempts per game, 3. I'm on NBA.com right now looking at the stats.
I'm looking at Basketball Reference, and it's telling me free throw attempts 4.5, and then 2.5 made.
I don't know. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at it right now. I can't say. What? Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Maybe I'm looking at preseason. I could be looking at preseason.
Oh, you looking at preseason, bro?
Yeah, you're right. He made 2.8 free throw attempts per game, and he made 2.8 free throws per game, and he shot 4.5. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, close to 5 a game, and on top of that, he is still in his rookie season. People forgot the season got cut.
Yeah.
People forgot that.
For the most part, he has not played 82 games in a season yet.
And Josh, like, who even thought RJ was going to be this generational type of a player?
Hold on. Time out. No, I said best player on the team. I didn't say anything about being generational. We're talking about best player on the team. That's what you guys want him to be, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but listen, we say it, but we know that it's going to take time.
I agree.
We know it's going to take time because he has a talent.
I agree.
But when you came out the other talking about he missed 3 air balls, Knox missed 2 last night. I didn't hear you talk about Knox last night.
Because Knox is not a major part of this team. I don't think Knox is a major part of this team. RJ Barrett is. His 25 points, his ability to score and slash and get to the basket, that's a major part of this team. Because if we didn't have RJ Barrett, where would the scoring come from? Julius Randle? But you guys hate Julius Randle, right?
I'm going to just say this, Sim. The only way this team is going to change and flow in chemistry is just a point guard that know what he's doing and just people knowing to be on the string defensively, because this year defense is going to have to help us win games, honestly. And we're going to have to attack the boards. We're going to have to attack
but look, they're getting there defensively. It's happening. It's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, no, it is. But they have to be consistent, meaning all the back doors I was seeing last night, I'm just thinking about when we go against better teams that could just do that almost consistently on us. Detroit is different from other teams that we're going to go against. So I'm looking for the bigger and better teams because I think I value the better teams to get those wins there. The suckier teams, go halfway.
Hey, Sim, could I say something real quick?
I want to win bigger games.
Sim, could I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, jump in there.
Yeah, Mark, you're right about that. But what I will say is the first game, we didn't see those back doors as we saw last night.
Yeah, I know that. I said the second game, I didn't like what I saw in the second game.
You didn't like what you saw? Okay, I'm just coming on. I didn't hear anything. I haven't heard.
Even though the first game, you want that to continue. So when you start seeing the second game, and it just starts to reminisce about last year. It just because we have bad rapport, we want to see it consistently. So when we start seeing these laps, we don't want them to fall in the habits that they had last year. That's all I'm saying.
Right, but I think you have to take into account. You have to take into account that they were able to rebound in that third quarter and come back and play some tough, scrappy defense. Because I don't care what team you play against, there are going to be quarters, there are going to be halves where they do not play well defensively or offensively.
But Sim, we always been a good rebounding team. That's one thing. We always been, even though we sucked, we always been a good rebounding team. What I saw in the last game, we could not finish in the paint. We get on fast break, can't finish in the paint.
Especially when they threw that zone at us too.
Well. I mean, the thing is, what I'm saying to you is, right? What I was encouraged by last night is, yes, they came out lackadaisical. Tom Thibodeau smacked them all in the mouth when he got in the locker room. He lined them all up against the locker room. He said, "Pow, pow, pow, pow." Now get your ass out there and play some damn defense. And they came out in the third quarter and they started playing defense. And now the second unit lost the intensity a little bit, but you know what? They're a young group. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna, if he's gonna keep that young group, these rotations with that young group, you're gonna go through some growing pains with that young group. I'm okay with that, though. I'm okay with that.
But what's so funny about how it vice versa, because the first game was horrible. This game, the second unit was horrible. But I only credit that to because he didn't have Frank in that second unit, and it rubbed me wrong because what I saw what he was doing to the point guards, the guards, they wasn't able to get in any of their sets. Detroit was just getting into their sets last night, and that was pissing me off last night.
I agree, but I think Tom Thibodeau probably recognized that as well.
And yo, Sim, when you talk about quickly being small, he is small. He
was small. If you look at him on the court, he's small.
And that's why they signed him to that deal, because it ain't this year, it ain't next year. Probably to his third year, he's gonna get bigger and better. He has time. He has time on his hands. He's a small player. Listen,
he's got wide shoulders though.
Yeah, and he rushed a lot of what he was doing. He had the adrenaline. Yes.
Yeah, first time on the floor. I mean, that's gonna happen. Let me get to Tony.
Last one question mark.
Yeah, real quick.
And you too, Sam. How much weight would you want to see on him in the years to come? How much weight do you want to see on him?
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what he weighs right now.
Like 80, Sam.
Like 180 he weighs. You like to see him get up to 210, maybe something like that. But you want him to keep his speed, right? You don't want him to pick up weight and then it slows him down. He's got to be able to keep his speed and stuff like that. Go ahead, Tony.
One of the things that nobody's really crediting that the 76ers, I'm sorry, the Pistons coach had adjustments. He made great adjustments. I apologize, but I've been trying to say this since we was talking about Dennis Smith, because that's another thing I think that affected him. They started trapping the guards up top. If you notice, and he actually still made the right pass. It just was difficult for him to get the pass out.
They said that.
We came out in the third quarter with our own adjustments, and then, in my opinion, I think, like you said, the second unit didn't really keep up that intensity. And I think Tibbs was kind of giving them a chance to, to fight back, to get it back. And I think ultimately that kind of killed the game for us. But I'm not mad that he did that. You know what I mean? They kind of lost the lead, and then he gave them a fair chance to get it back.
Yeah. There's a lot to work through, man. What do you want to see? Big Bubba, I'm coming to you. And then I'm going to come to Joe. All right. I want to know, what do you want to see versus the Cleveland Cavaliers coming up next week? Come on, Big Bubba.
I feel like I got a bald head and I sell barbecue, man. I feel like that's
that might be you. That might be you in the future anyway, I'm gonna be the first one. As long as you're selling chicken barbecue, I'm good. I'm gonna be the first one at the
Bubba's
little food
barbecue.
truck. I'm gonna be at Big Bubba's barbecue food truck.
Dang, man. As long as Andy could come, as long as Andy's my sous chef, that's all that matters. We're gonna have some Polish barbecue, man. No, so Sim, I'd be very interested because that kid that you like, I'm not gonna lie, man. Isaac Okoro, I see why you like him. The kid, I think he's gonna be nice.
Yes, I think he's gonna be nice.
I think he's gonna be nice. I really do that. Like he hit that game winner layup. Listen, man. To see him sweating, he was already tired. I feel like he's gonna be real good, man. I want to see RJ go against him. I think the talent level for Cleveland's a little. I don't want to say more because it's probably equal. I say it's probably equal to Detroit. So, but they have a lot of young guys. So I think they're going to be more running, and they actually got some point guards. I'm not the biggest Darius Garland fan. I like Colin Sexton. So it's going to be interesting to see how we face against those two. Of course, you got Kevin Love, a champion. So it's going to be really interesting. I want to see us pick up the intensity in the first game. Like I said, they got more guards. So I think the guard play is going to be a lot more important in Cleveland versus Detroit. And then, again, they got bigs down there. So Obi Toppin is going to have to really get in position because you have Kevin Love. You have Dre. Is it Drummond? Drummond's in Cleveland, right, still?
Yeah. Yep.
So there. So you right now, to me, they're probably better on the rebounds than us, just between those two. So we're gonna definitely see, and we're gonna definitely see how it goes. But I want Obi Toppin to bounce back a little bit. He's gonna have a little more opportunity because Kevin Love and Andre Drummond, they don't play defense like that. So I think he has the opportunity there to get his offensive game going a little bit. But he's going to also get schooled on the rebounding game. So is Mitchell Robinson. So we're going to see. So I definitely think it's going to be an interesting matchup with the Cavaliers.
Yeah. Okay. Joe, I'm coming to you, man. Tell me.
All right. I want to see when Obi's on the floor, I want to see him get more to the paint like he did in the first game. I feel like yesterday he was with the zone, he was being forced more outside. I want to see him try and even push into the paint. I want to see Frank start beside Burks and RJ at the point and then put the ball in RJ's hand. Because I want to see before the season starts, can RJ be a proper primary ball handler? Instead of putting it in Randall's hands, like Randall had the ball a lot yesterday, but I just want to see it in RJ's hands a little bit more.
Okay, so I just looked at the usage rates of the two players because I knew, people are going to, RJ right now, his usage rate is number one on the team at 26.6. Julius Randle is behind him at 25.3, I think it was. All right, so RJ is having the ball in his hands. He's got a high usage rate right now, again, 26.6. That leads the team in usage rate. And he also leads the team in shot attempts. So, he's got the ball in his hands.
But I want to see it like that then against Cleveland. And I want to see Frank and I want to see Burks because I feel looking at Frank, his shooting's got a lot better. He just doesn't have the attempts because he's shooting 50% from the two games, but it's not high usage. Right. So I think having him and Burks together at the corners, it'd be nice for the team. Having RJ going into the paint and kicking it out, having Frank one side, Burks the other, I think it'll help stretch the floor a little bit.
So you kind of want to see them just go away from having a traditional point guard and let RJ, But let me ask you this: if RJ is now in control or responsible for facilitating the team, is it going to take away from his scoring ability?
No.
Now, I don't want to say ability. I don't want to say ability, but is it going to take away from his scoring because now he has this extra responsibility?
No, because I think when he's when he's driving to the paint, instead of having him to worry about just having to score, he can start kicking it out more, knowing that he has a guy on each side that can drop them. Because I think Frank, once he starts, because his form looks better, and I think he'll get very consistent in the shot. I think Frank could have a real role in this team as a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Hold on. One thing. I think you guys are downplaying the responsibility of a point guard and the person who leads the team and has the ball in their hands, like bringing it up and actually facilitating. I think you are really kind of downgrading how hard it is to actually facilitate for your team and be a scorer. Josh, you're shaking your head, but I played point guard for my entire life. And it is a tough task to have to manage between the two and understand, when do I score? When do I facilitate? When do I think about my teammates first? When do I think about myself first? Your great point guards can do it like that because it's natural, but it's not easy. It is a difficult job.
Sam, I'm shaking my head not because hold on. I said hold on, Sam. I'm shaking my head not because I disagree with what you're saying about the job of a point guard. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm disagreeing with the fact that you guys act as if RJ Barrett, his scoring ability can't be contagious for other guys on the team. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying RJ Barrett needs to come down and facilitate the offense. I'm saying when RJ Barrett has the ball in his hands and he's able to get to the basket and score whenever he wants, that play should be contagious for other guys on the team.
But that's naturally
that's going to be able to get other guys. Naturally, that's going to get other guys involved. And he was doing that. You said it. You mentioned it. He was doing that in the last game. Guys just didn't execute. But I want to see that consistently.
But there is a big difference. What I just spoke about, Joe and I just had a conversation about going away from a traditional point guard, right? And letting RJ Barrett be the primary ball handler and having Frank Ntilikina and Alec Burks playing out on the wings, right? Now, there's a difference in the way that RJ Barrett has to think now, right? Because if Tom Thibodeau calls out a set, now he's calling out a set, and RJ Barrett is the one that has to make sure that that set gets ran through, not Elfrid Payton. RJ Barrett has to make sure that the person who is hot is getting the ball, not Elfrid Payton, or the person who hasn't gotten a shot is getting the ball, not Elfrid Payton, or whoever your point guard is. There is a big difference in being a point guard than being a wing player, and the responsibility that you have. It's one of the reasons that you see Dennis Smith Jr. struggling. If you put Dennis Smith Jr. on a wing and say, go for yours, go get your buckets, I bet you he can go out against Cleveland and score 13, 14 points. But because he's trying to facilitate the game, he's got to think differently. He can't think about his buckets. He's got to think about how he's getting the team involved, which is why one of the reasons that his game, you see him playing the type of game that he's playing right now.
Yeah. And
no one is saying the Knicks to go away from a traditional point guard.
No, then you just missed the entire conversation that I had with Joe, because that's what Joe and I were talking about.
No, what I'm saying though too is you can have, because Frank is a point guard, but you can have him kind of help with RJ in that position too. You have Frank and Norton like playing off of each other, because I want to see it before the season starts, because if he can do it in 2 preseason games, then I think we could try using him that way a lot more in the regular season. I want to see it just before we go into the season, you know.
And Joe, I'm not saying don't try it. All I'm saying is, would it take away from his ability to take those 17 shot attempts a game and knock down 50% of those shots? Go ahead, Tony.
To your point, to Josh's point, and Joe's point, I think all three of you guys are right in a sense. I would like to see that lineup as well. I don't think that puts RJ at the point guard per se. I think it may put a little bit more responsibility on him as far as handling some of the ball handling. But I think Frank would essentially still be the point guard. And then to Josh's question or comment about RJ, and also I think you touched on it too about, I think with RJ having the ball in his hands more, he's not a selfish guy, so he has that ability to, as Joshua asked, make the teammates better. He doesn't really miss passes inside. I think the hardest thing will probably be a kick out for him, but he's like solid as far as driving and then finding one of the bigs when somebody comes to him, a help defender. Mm-hmm. So I think in that sense, I think he can make our team better or the teammates better. I think it wouldn't be that bad as putting a little bit more responsibility in RJ's hands. And then, I wouldn't mind that lineup either with Frank, just because he's another. He's not the greatest ball handler, but he's a pretty good playmaker. You know what I mean? As far as finding the open shot, finding the open people, reading the defense, and making the right decision. And then I think his shot has increased his percentage or accuracy. And then, I think shooters around RJ would help. So I would like to see that lineup. Even a quick, I think like you were saying, and Mark, he's tiny. He's like seeing him in the huddle or in the timeout, like standing side by side with the teammate. He was puny.
Sim, just to chime in with me personally, I'm on your side, Sim, with the RJ thing about. I think it would affect his offense. I really do. If you give him more responsibility as being if you want I think
he makes the right reads though.
RJ does make the right reads, but I do feel like a lot of people coming up when we saw RJ, I think a lot of people saw James Harden in him, the way they played. And we're just trying to give him this responsibility so soon of running the offense. And like you said, Sim, I think I'm being real. I think Joe and Josh are really downplaying what being a point guard is in this league. And like you said, knowing when to get yours, knowing when to get mine, knowing when to set this guy up, that takes a lot. And like we literally just saw a prime example of, we literally can see Dennis Smith Jr. thinking on the court of what to do. And he's supposed to have been playing point guard or off ball around that position. So I just think with RJ, man, it's just like you have to have a point guard around him so that he can do what he does best. And again, RJ does dish out the ball already correctly. I mean, sometimes he does a little gambles with some of his passes, but he's doing that at a good level right now. Now, I think what people are trying to do is trying to get him to be that guy that's averaging, 30 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds. And I don't think he's ready for that. I don't know if that's really truly all his game, but again, I just think with RJ is that we gotta put a little more respect into the point guard position, where it's not easy. Listen, I don't like Elfrid Payton, but at least Elfrid Payton knows how to run a team, and he knows how to do correct passes. Now, do I like the style of play he plays? No. But again, we got to put a little more respect into the point guard position before we're just saying, hey, RJ can play one, because I remember we let RJ play one with Fizdale, and then Tim, please tell me how that went.
So guys, again, I mean,
let me just ask this question. How much more right now he leads the team in usage rate? All right, at 26 point, his usage rate is 26.6. Last season, his usage rate was 23.4. How much higher do you want that usage rate to be? And at what point do you start to get diminishing returns? And I guess you don't know. I guess we don't know until you see it.
Hey, Sim, can I rephrase what I said then, rather than increasing his usage rate? Because I think his usage rate is fine. And I think once the guys are finishing, like his teammates, I think people will see the difference. Like that those 2 more assists, maybe 3 more assists from drop passes, or you know what I mean? The guy he's giving the ball to and not finishing or actually dropping the ball. I think that's the issue more than RJ. I think he naturally makes the right read more times than not. So I it's not about maybe increasing his usage, but I think when everything falls in line and people start, maybe it's an early chemistry thing. I don't know, but I think it's gonna turn around, especially with RJ and with Mitch and Noels. I think they're gonna benefit the most from RJ, because his strength is going to the basket and he's not selfish. He makes the right read.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to clarify my point. Like I don't know exactly what you and what's his name Joe were talking about.
You gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention when you're in class, man.
I got the phone on the screen. But what I'm saying is I'm not downplaying the importance of a point guard. A point guard is very, very important. And if the Knicks had one, that's a plus, a big plus for this team because we need more facilitating. What I'm saying is I don't want the Knicks to go away from the traditional point guard play. I like Elfrid Payton being on the floor. I like that. That's the best guy. That's the best point guard we have. What I'm saying is I don't want RJ. RJ already, his usage rate is fine. Him having the ball in his hand is fine. It doesn't need to go up or go down. What I'm saying is his ability to score and his ability to score 25 points or whatever amount of points, that alone, his ability to drive and score, that alone should be able to get other guys involved. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying him having the ball in his hands all the time, bringing the ball up the court. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying his ability to score, that being contagious for other guys on the team. That's what I'm saying.
Josh, I think you're trying to, and this is what I'm getting from when you're, because there's only a few players that I know that scoring-wise, they make their teams better. That's like Steph Curry level. Steph Curry does that. Steph Curry scores and makes his team better. Now, I'm trying to understand because with RJ, I don't understand it because he's scoring 25 points and he still does kick it out to the man. He does kick it out to the guys. So what more do you want from him? I don't get it.
No. I'm not downplaying RJ. This is not me knocking. This is not me knocking RJ. I'm not knocking RJ at all, guys. This is what I want to see consistently from him. I want to see him continue to do that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's something against him. No, this is the next step in his development is for him to do that consistently. And that's what makes him, that's what's going to make him the best player on this team. Not just the scoring, his ability to get other guys involved. Because if you look at it, like I said, the Jimmy Butlers of the world, Jimmy Butler led Miami Heat in assists last year. And he's their best player and the most efficient scorer and their best scorer. If you look down the list in the NBA, for a team that does not have a point guard, a consistent point guard to be able to dish out assists, the best player on the team leads the team in assists. So if RJ Barrett is going to be our best player, and right now we don't have a point guard, the question was raised, what do the Knicks need to do moving forward? RJ Barrett needs to lead the team in assists. Well, and that's just by default because we don't have a consistent point guard on the team.
Okay, so tell me, hold on. Let's because we're gonna start to wrap this up soon. We got a lot of time to talk about this. I want to know from everybody. I'm gonna get to you, Kev. I see your hand waving. I'm gonna get to you, Kev. I want to know from everybody, what do you want to see in the next versus Cleveland? That's what I want to know. Isaiah, and to your point, the Knicks are actually rebounding better than the Cleveland Cavaliers. I was just looking at the stats.
Really?
Yes.
Really? That's a little surprising.
Yeah. It's only 2 preseason games, but yes, they are. Yeah. Josh, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to go Josh, Tony, Andy, Kev. I spoke with Joe, then I'm going to go Mark, and then I'm going to go Big Bubba. All right?
Save the best for last, baby.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just want to see the Knicks continue on what they're doing, continue to build, continue to, let the team run through defense because scoring is going to be a problem. So we got to be able to, hold, play solid defense, prevent Cleveland from scoring a lot of points because that's pretty much the only way we're going to do it. And I want to see RJ Barrett continue to take that next step. His ability to score 25 points per game, limit the turnovers and be able to get other guys involved. That's what I want to see in the next game. And Obi Toppin, I want to see if Obi Toppin can start to take those next steps. It may or may not happen. We'll see. But that's another thing that needs to happen. Obi Toppin, being more of a scoring threat. Okay.
All right. Tony?
I like to see just a little bit more consistency or better shot making. Better 3-point shooting percentage. Because I really think if we shot 40 or 50%, I think we would have, we only lost the one game, but if we shot better from 3, I think we would have been well off. I think we was like 8 for 33.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we're shooting 23.2% so far over these first 2 preseason games from 3. So,
and like I said, the positive in that is we didn't really take bad shots. Like we really just missed shots bad.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was funny though. That was
not
funny,
bad shots, but we missed them bad. The ones that we took, the good shots we took, we missed them badly. We threw some bricks up there. There's no doubt about it.
Bricks and airballs.
I seen a couple of them clank off the backboard. Andy, go ahead, man.
Sim, I saw Kevin praying. If he wants to say, he wants Mitch starting, just go to him. I'll go last.
All right, I'm gonna go to Cornerstone, man. All right, Cornerstone. Come on, Cornerstone. Put it out there, Cornerstone.
Mitch, he should be starting. All right, let me just clarify that just a little. I was so high on Mitch being the one of the cornerstones. Right now, that's fading a little bit by his attitude and I won't say his production, but the thing about it was last night's production was really not him. Pretty much, because he fouled out. I mean, well, no, he didn't foul out, but he got 5 fouls in how many minutes? It was like
12 minutes.
12 minutes. 5 fouls in 12 minutes. But go ahead, Tony.
Tibbs let him rock. And he held it down.
Yeah.
He
got zero fouls in 7 minutes. So he got 5 fouls in 12 minutes, and then 0 fouls in 7 minutes. He played a little bit more disciplined. Hopefully, it's a learning curve for him.
Right, exactly. So, but what I'm looking for tomorrow, I just want us to be more. I just want that intensity back that I saw on Friday. I don't want it to. I mean, I understand what you're saying about you can't play. You say you can't play great defensively, for the whole game. There are going to be lapses. I understand that. I just don't want to see it in the beginning of the game. And then we have to dig a hole, dig ourselves a hole, and then we got to, come out of it and everything. I mean, yeah, we came back, we came back, and then, our young guys couldn't, get the job done, unfortunately. So I would like us to, again, start with that intensity at the start of the game, and then try to, carry that all the way through the, into the fourth quarter. I don't like us, struggling in the fourth quarter, but then again, this is the NBA, and in games that happens no matter what's going on. And I want to see. I would like to see Frank be. I mean, we keep saying we don't have a point guard that'll set him up. Well, Frank does that. We keep forgetting that Frank. He doesn't care about scoring all that much. He just wants to set people up and play defense. Isn't that what Isn't that what we need? We need someone that's sets him up and plays defense.
Yeah, so let me jump in here for just a second, Kev, because I wasn't saying that a team is hard for a team to play defense, the whole game. What I was saying is from game to game, especially when you're playing in the NBA, right? You just traveled from New York to LA, and then you gotta you play the game the next night. You might be a little lackadaisical when you come out.
Okay, so you mean that way.
So from game to game, a team is not always going to play the greatest defense, and you got to find a way to rebound from that, and that's what they did last night. Like sometimes you got to be able to pull that out of the process, right? They should have been down 18 points,
right,
at halftime.
Right.
They shot horribly. They didn't play great defense, right? But they were only down 10. And then in the third quarter, they took the lead by 4.
Yeah.
And if this was a regular game, right, and Tom Thibodeau put the young guys in and they would have gave up the lead, he would have snatched them right back out and brought the other guys back in. Guaranteed it.
I agree.
Guaranteed it.
And honestly, Sam, I see Detroit. He was putting pretty much a lot of people, in the games, and I really didn't see Thibodeau putting in like he put quickly in like the first half, and then that was it. He didn't put in Powell. He didn't put in none of those guys. I want to see see a little bit more of that, of getting in, the new guys, coming in to see what it is that we have. Now, I understand that they're not going to make the team, as you say, but I would like to see what it is that, what they can do, so that down the line we could be like, hey, we got this guy in the G League. Why don't they, bring him up or something like that? I just want to see, them. And the last thing I'll say is I just want to see a little bit more out of Kevin Knox, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think that it's those guys.
Because we still haven't seen Iggy. We haven't seen Iggy at all.
I know, and I'm gonna tell you what. It's my opinion that Tom Thibodeau. Listen, it's a short training camp. Tom Thibodeau is like, I need to focus on my rotation guys because we getting ready to play a game in 8 days.
Yeah.
Right? I want to work on my rotation guys. I don't give a damn about them other guys. Well, he gives a damn about them. He cares for them, but they're going to have to get it in practice. I think he wants to get and feel out what his rotations are going to look like.
So I have to ask this question.
So those guys might only see 2 or 3 minutes or something like that in one of these games because I really think Thibodeau is trying to work out that rotation.
Okay, understand, and totally get it. If that's the case, then why did they bring him on then?
Why did they what?
Why did they sign these guys to these contracts if they knew they were going to get a chance?
They're still practicing.
And Kev, exactly. Tibbs gets to see these guys just because you don't get to see them.
Right.
He knows what these guys are doing. You know what I mean? He sees it every day. So if he has a feeling that they're good enough, you'll get to see it too.
Exactly. So he sees them every day. He knows what they can and can't do. And if somebody had come in. If Powell had come in and he was just killing every other guard in practice, then Tibbs would be like, okay, this kid needs to get in the game because we need him.
So I guess we can say that about Schreier then when he first came on. We signed him to a summer league contract. Then we signed him to a training camp contract. And then we knocked off Ron Baker and just, signed him to a major contract. So you're saying that they have to have that type of I'll call it the it factor. They have to have that kind of it factor in order to be noticed.
Yeah, they need to come into camp and just be busting everybody's ass. And then they're like, okay, we need to make sure this guy has a spot on the team.
Yeah, I guess because of this COVID situation, because you figure if everything stayed the way it was and we would have had the draft, before this in the summertime, and then have summer league, and then have a longer training camp than what we have now. I think
you would have got to see them.
Right. Yeah.
Because you would have seen them in summer league, like you would have seen them in a lot of different situations before they even got to training camp. And Tom Thibodeau would have seen them for 3 or 4 weeks before they even got in the training camp, or before preseason even started. We might not get to see them dudes.
Right.
Might not get to see them. Mark, what you want to see in the next game, man?
Well, personally, me, right? When he has Obi Toppin on the floor, I think he needs to get him the ball as close as possible to the basketball at the basket, because he rushed yesterday. A lot of what he was doing, it was just moving too fast for him. Like right now, the game is just moving too fast for him. It really is. I don't think it's his skill set. It's just the game is moving too fast. So you have to settle in. Huh?
Yeah, that's to be expected, though, right? I mean, he's a rookie.
So the best way to settle him down is to get him in his spots. I don't like when he's on a perimeter like that, like so much like he was yesterday. He's one of those players that's very active and that should be everywhere on the floor, like he was in the first game. That's why he was so productive. Now, when you have him just sitting in the corner, that's not good for his game because he's an active player. Number two, when they give Julius Randle the ball in those spots, I want to see RJ in those spots. I've been calling that since we got RJ. Put him there. Put him in that low post area, and let him create right there from time to time. Every time you don't have to keep going to Randle there every time. Give RJ some of that too, and it helps spread the floor.
So I think they will.
Yeah, so he can make passes. Just get him close to the back because he just makes better decisions when he's closer instead of having him up top. Because right now he's a downhill player.
And the thing he doesn't have, and here's the thing about that first unit too, like because RJ doesn't have blazing speed.
No.
right? So he's better suited, in my opinion, to play a game that's he knows how to run a fast break. He knows all the fundamentals. He can get up and down the floor. I'm not saying he can't do those things. I'm saying he doesn't have blazing speed. So when you get in a half court set, if you get him the ball in the post, he can operate in that post area. He can score from it. He can pass out of it. Yes, I think he should be there, and I think they'll recognize it and get him there more.
And again, this is where Julius Randle can be good for us. He has to get the ball in stride. He has to get the ball in stride. Because he gets to the basket quicker, and then he could finish from time to time. So you want RJ to operate there, have Randle cut, or run a play when you're coming down. But what I want to see, I want RJ, Obi, Knox, Frank, and BSJ on the floor together. I want to see a little bit of in pick and roll with RJ and Obi, because the way Obi could dive, it would open up RJ's game. Give him a mid-range, because he was doing that the first game. A lot of his mid-range look clean. You want him to play to his strengths right now. It's his first year. Play to his strengths. And the closer he is to the basket, the better. The better decision-making, because I think he's the best passer. Because when he has the ball and he's close to the basket and someone they're cutting, he makes the right read. So why wouldn't you take advantage of that instead of having him on the wing? It's not a great three-point shooter yet. You have to get him in rhythm by keeping him close to the basket. And then with Knox, I swear to God, when the team play with pace, that's when he's active. He's one of those people, you have to keep things so fast for him so he can pay attention. If you dumb it down, he's going to be lackadaisical. He's going to be standing up. You have to have this guy on the move, because he's not engaged the way we would want him. And for the Cleveland game, I told you about Isaac Okoro. I don't care what nobody said. That kid is going to make himself into an NBA player, Sim. And I kind of wish he fell to us, because that kid got the juice. That
kid's going to be good, man. Okoro's going to be good. I'm not saying I like Obi Toppin, man. I think he's going to be good. But listen, Okoro's going to be good too.
I'm not mad at Obi, but it's something in that Okoro kid. When he dig down deeper, I think it's something. He's going to blossom into something special. But for the Cleveland, stop Garland. He's a great ball handler. So I want to see a lot of Frank on him this game. Don't do what you did and not put him on the floor. Dennis Smith need to be the first guards off that bench. Because for some reason, when Frank is on the floor, the defense, it just intensifies him. It just intensifies him when I watch it. Yeah. He goes over screens like he's supposed to. No one was doing it in the second game. We was going under. A lot of screens. We were supposed to go over. Yeah. In the first game, they was following it. So I think, listen, man, stop the point guard so Cleveland game won't open up, because they are young and fast, and they look like they could score.
Yeah. All right. Big Bubble.
He was on this topic already, I think.
Oh yeah, he did. Oh yeah, he did. He did say this topic already. He did say this topic already.
Andy, don't snitch, Andy. We don't like. I just want
to. What'd you say, Mark?
Rebounds either. We have to guard Andre Drummond down there, because he grabs rebounds.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, we did talk to Big Bubble, man.
Hey, Andy.
Nah, let's skip on over to Andy. Skip over to Andy. I want to hear what you got to say, man.
Hold up, man.
Sim. Just to piggyback on what you were talking about, Thibs having already the rotation and the shorted preseason and training camp. I think he already has some guys penciled in, even before the preseason, right? In the lineups and the rotations. After these two games, I would see him doing two things. And this is like me talking as Thibs as a coach and half as a fan, right? One thing, I think this is the third game out of 4 games. So this is going to be like maybe not the last chance for DSJ, but I would give DSJ more minutes just to see if, for example, he needs, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes to get him in the rhythm of the game, and if he's going to be, you know, a heavy rotation player for us. And if he doesn't pan out in this game, the game 3, right? In game 4, you have to give chances to Quickly for more minutes or to even Powell's, right? Because you got to look at those guys as well. If is, you know, strike 3 for DSJ, because I don't think he you know, played up to the thing that Thibs was, you know, asking from him. So I would take a chance and go, you know, with another player just to see maybe if they're gonna have a one game, you know, brilliant professional, I don't know, game. So I would do that. And the other thing, Sim, and this is gonna sound wild for you, but it actually, I was thinking through it. I would bench Julius Randle, and not like bench because he's bad. Just sit him one game because you know what he can do. You know he's probably going to be your power forward, but there are other benefits to this. You can see if RJ is going to sink or swim as the main guy, if the rest of the team can play off of, you know, RJ as a playmaker, because he was playing that in college. So, you know, you would see if he can benefit from that. Besides that, the most important thing, we need to see who is going to be the next option after those 2 main guys. And that's going to be the, you know, the time for that player, that third option to surface.
Yeah.
And besides that, let the Knicks fans see what the game is going to look like without Julius Randle.
Yeah.
So many fans wants to see it, bro. I'm not saying it's gonna look prettier because it might not, but just for the sake of the, you know, of the fans asking, just do it.
Just do it. I
agree.
Then
and then just game 4, just go take all the notes from the closet, put the rotation that you're gonna use on game day 1 versus Indiana, and you just roll out with the guys that you think you're gonna be using as the rotation.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you 100% because we got to find – I'm struggling right now to see who can really be that third dude.
Yeah.
That is going to consistently get you some points. I don't know where it's going to come from. You know that RJ and Randall is going to be able to get you between 18 20 points a game, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who else. We're not sure about Obi yet. We're hoping Obi is the next one that can get you those points, but we're not sure because he's got to get his feet wet a little bit, get used to the speed some, and then they used him in the screen and roll a lot. Right?
Yeah.
I want to see. I want to see them use him in the screen and roll. I know it's not going to look like it did in college with Obi because he's in the NBA, but still, let's get him in the screen and roll. Use him.
Yeah, and Sim, you know, I think Obi could really benefit out of playing with Elfrid Payton, because now he's with the young guys, right? And I understand that, but that lineup needs time, and I mean like seasons of time, not like 2, 10, 5 games, right? I mean seasons of playing together,
right?
But if you're getting a little bit older point guard than Elfrid, which knows how to play with power forwards around the league, he can set up Obi for those easy, you know, dunks, layups, whatever. Play some, you know, pick and roll with him, even with RJ, and you would be able to see Obi in the first lineup with the starting 5, right? And I'm not asking to trade Julius before game 4 of the preseason. Just give it might be Obi's, you know, coming out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let Obi start at the power forward spot. I'm with that 100%. Let Obi start at the power forward spot. See if RJ is able to take control, and then see if Obi can be that third guy, right? Yeah. And see what the team looks like. This is the game. Any experimentation that you're gonna do, I think this is the game that you're gonna you're gonna do it and finish it off, because I think Friday's game or the next game is going to be your dress rehearsal, because then the season starts the next week. So I think it's going to be the dress rehearsal. So if you're going to see some of those other guys play that we haven't seen, Miles Powell, Iggy, and all of them,
it's going to be this game.
It would be this game. Right? If you don't see him this game, then you're probably not seeing him for this preseason, because I think the next game will be the dress rehearsal to get ready for the season.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm happy Sim, you liked it, because I was thinking you're gonna kick me off the show, bro, for sitting Randall.
That's
Mark,
super interesting. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Tony, hold on. Go ahead, Tony. My bad, Mark.
No,
but as soon as Tony's done.
It's interesting you say that, Andy, because well, I didn't know you meant like sit him completely, because I was gonna ask Sim, do you think we need to, and I wasn't necessarily talking about Randall, but he fits the bill. Do you think we need to sit one of our veterans or have them come off the bench, because it seems like the second unit is less efficient in scoring, and that might benefit things out a little bit.
See, I think it works a little bit better by just saying, I'm not going to play you, right?
Yeah,
because
just even don't dress.
Yeah, because
I know that's a totally different concept. I meant just in general, because the second unit is kind of, we kind of don't know what we're going to get from any of those guys as far as production wise.
Right.
You know, we may get this, we may not. So I meant like going forward in the future. Yeah. I understood what Andy was saying, though. That's an interesting take.
Right. I mean, and the reason why I say that, though, is because as a coach, I don't care if it's a preseason game, a regular season game, I want to try to win. Even when I'm experimenting, I want to try to win. And if we're getting out there, getting our grills bust, and I look down and I'm like, I told him I'm not going to play him, but maybe I just put him in for a couple minutes, see what we can do. You know what I'm saying? Nope, just don't dress. Now I have no choice. You know what I'm saying? And the other players, because look, I've coached teams where I've had someone who hasn't been in practice, and I'm like, he's not playing. Right? We get in the game, and they like, my players like, coach, please just put him in the game. We need him. Put him in the game. We need him.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
And I'm like, I can't do it. He ain't, hasn't been da-da-da. Come on, coach, please. You know what I'm saying? I've seen other coaches, all right, come on, right? But then that aids that person in not being in practice and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you don't dress them, and it gives no choice, but those guys say, we got to do this. We got to do that. Hold on. Let me get the mark.
I think Burke will be that third guy.
Okay, he might.
Yeah.
Because in the third quarter, every single player from Julius, every single player that would have the ball, from Julius to Peyton to RJ, was looking for Burks in that third quarter to try to get him going. And that I thought that was really, really good, because we didn't do stuff like that last year. Go ahead, Mark.
I said, so let me be that guy. What if there's a thing called what Andy said, which gave me warmth to my heart, because I cried myself to bed last night after the game. But what if players just like playing with certain players on the floor, so their type of play just excel better with certain people on the floor?
That's the whole reason. That's the whole reason why he's trying to find rotations.
Yeah,
and that's a 2-3 man rotations that I'm talking about, Mark. You're not going to be able to get those 5 guys straight in the preseason, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So what if the lineup, right? You start Nolens, because I think Mitch, and I'm glad I brought up Mitch and his contract, because listen, man, it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a fight to sign him. But you start Norland, you put Obi, RJ, you keep Burks at the 2. And then you just roll with Dennis Smith. You just roll with him. I just want to see a 30-minute game with him. I just want to see if he could really read the game with the minutes, knowing that he's going to get the minutes, other than he's going to get pulled. Because you will get 2 different type of players that way.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And it's like doing the same exact thing with Obi and putting him and starting him at that 4 spot. I just feel like Dennis Smith Jr. can't do the whole game without getting bottled up so much.
No,
but I don't. But I wouldn't mind seeing it. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Say, hey, go ahead. I'm gonna rock with you and just see what you do. I think it would be tough for Dennis Smith Jr. because he's really, really learning. And he's trying. I'm giving it to him. He is trying his butt off. And, it's such a learning curve for him. It's not to say that by the end of the season or the beginning of the next season, he doesn't have it down and understand how to balance between, because he's used to, listen, when Dennis Smith Jr. gets trapped, he's used to being that guy that can split the trap and go to the basket. They're asking him to do something different. So it's a learning curve for DSJ right now.
He looks more than like glitchy, like when he's looking to make a decision. Like it's like he lost all his powers, honestly. It's like he lost all his powers.
All-stars in the building.
The positive thing, though, he didn't turn it over. Yeah. Like, he still made the right read.
Yeah.
So, Sim, I'm saying, since we played Cleveland twice in a row, you give one of those games to the young guys, give them that confidence, that little brief of confidence that they need to play, and then you got the fourth game, and you put the veterans in, and we try to win that game. It ain't like it's a tally mark.
Well, we'll see. I think Tom Thibodeau is really trying, and I'm gonna come over to Josh and then Isaiah. I think Tom Thibodeau is really trying to find. I think he's really trying to find what he feels comfortable with. So, the next game, that's the experimentation game, I think, and then after that, you're gonna see what he does. Go ahead, Josh.
So I like the idea that Andy pitched, but my thing is the timing of it. Right. And I know you guys are saying it's the preseason. These games really don't matter. But with the shortened preseason because of COVID and stuff like that, I think the biggest thing for the Knicks right now is consistency. So that's the reason why I wouldn't do that right now. And also, Julius Randle, his contract is an asset. I believe that he's going to be moved either at the trade deadline or sometime during the season. I believe he will be moved. And I think that'll be the best time to get Obi Toppin in the game because we won't really have a choice at that point but to put him in the game. But this early, I think, if you risk putting them in too early, you could hurt confidence and stuff like that. So that's why I like the idea. I just don't like the timing of it right now.
Yeah, Josh, just to clarify, I just said it for one game. It's not like you're going to bench. You get him a night off. Because if you're talking about trading Julius, if that is going to happen around the trade deadline, that means, and we're not going to get someone better than Julius, that means we're tanking. And it's no, bro, for real.
Right.
And it's not,
exactly.
Bro,
if you're not trading him to get somebody better, then, and you don't have someone who can step up and be able to get that 20 points. Now you're talking about us scoring 75 points to 80 points a night.
And I agree, and I totally agree. But the thing is, right now the Knicks are trying to find consistency with that lineup.
I get it.
They're trying to find consistency, and it's a shortened, even shorter preseason. Now, if this was a regular preseason schedule where there were more games and there's a summer league and stuff like that, then I would be all for it. But just right now, the timing of it, I just don't like the timing of it right now in this specific year. I don't like the timing of it right now.
Okay, all right, Isaiah or Big Bubba. Can't say Isaiah. Can't say Isaiah no more. Lord. Big Bubba. You got the last laugh, man. And then we getting out of here. Look how Andy, look how happy he is. He's so happy that he got the last word. He can't even stop. He can't stop smiling.
Because you said the last laugh. That's why he's laughing. Like he ain't even talking. He just laughing.
Exactly. He can't even spit it out. He's so happy.
Oh, anyways, I'm just happy to be here with my guys. Shout out to Mark, Andy, Tony Crow, Joe, Josh. You, of course, big brother. Sim, look, at the end of the day, man, we just gotta. I don't know what the hell to say. Let's just win the damn game. Let's play some good Knicks basketball. Seriously though, I would like to see. I will say this though, seriously. I think Frank won't play a lot these last couple of games because this is to me good news. I think Tom Thibodeau knows what he has in Frank, and I think that's why we're seeing a lot of Dennis Smith Jr. so much because he knows Frank can be plugged in and do what he does. I think he's really trying to find out what he got with Dennis Smith Jr. And I think I agree with Andy and Mark. I think I would love to see Dennis Smith. It will be tough. I will be cringing, but I think we should let Dennis Smith Jr. play 30 minutes.
Okay.
To see what he can really do. And with Obi Toppin, I think for this game, I agree with Mark.
You do notice that we got the outro music playing, Isaiah. You do notice that, right? We got the outro music, and what that means for you. That means time to cut you off and time to send this thing home. What do you mean, hold on? There is no cut the music. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We are cutting this guy off.